Take a motion to return to open session. So moved. Support. A motion by Mr. Williams, supported by Mr. Batchelder, to return to open session as presented. Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Batchelder.
Yes.
Money.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Nelson. Egan, yes. Hughes.
Yes.
Beasley. There are 5 yeses, 2 absent, Mr. President.
Thank you. At this time, Mr. Klein would like to read a statement to you. Please listen carefully to the things he has to say. If you have any questions about what he's saying, please jot them down. And at the end of his statement, if you need clarification on anything he said, and that's the only thing we're dealing with, feel free to ask us and we will try to clarify it for you.
I would like to thank all of those who attended tonight's special meeting of the West Branch Grove City Board of Education. The district is facing a difficult time, yet our school community has always dealt with tough issues in a fair and caring manner. We are calling on the community to, again, work with us to find a solution to this delicate issue with calm, patience, and what is in the best interest of our students. In our closed session tonight, the board considered a number of options. Before the board decides on a course of action, however, we would like to state the options as we see them. Should the district pursue disciplinary action of the 6 teachers who wrote the letters pertaining to Mr. Erickson, the board must initially ask itself if the teachers' actions were protected by the First Amendment. There is often a shade of gray involved, and such is the case here. It is difficult to determine what a court might decide in this matter. There is a balancing test the court must weigh when determining if a person's speech is protected by the First Amendment, or if the disruption to the school outweighs, in this case, the teacher's right to send the letters. This balancing test is imprecise, and the fact that judges often do not agree after applying the balancing test explains why it is impossible to guarantee whether this speech will be found to be protected or unprotected by the First Amendment. As all of us have dealt with varying emotions over the past 8 months when this tragic story came to light, nothing can compare with the pain and suffering felt by the victim and his family. We can only imagine what they are going through. When I discuss the options available to this district, we need to weigh several things when making a decision. We need to be concerned with the feelings of the entire Jenchesky family. We must also remember we live in the United States, where people have the right to express their opinions, even if we disagree. In addition, we need to consider the financial cost to the district of this decision. In these times when people have been hurt and affected so deeply over the actions of Mr. Erickson, it is hard to put things in terms of dollars and cents. However, the community needs to be aware of the financial effects on the school and the potential long-term effects as well with whatever decision this board arrives at. Is this community willing to eliminate programs, perhaps eliminate busing, to perhaps privatize some of our services, or make any other substantial cuts needed to fund a legal course of action? Should the district pursue the termination of these 6 teachers, this course of action comes with risks and financial responsibilities for which the district must find the necessary funds. Should tenure charges be filed against these teachers, the bottom line is this: the very best case scenario is an additional cost of approximately $500,000 to the school district. The next consideration which is a total unknown in terms of litigation costs, is whether or not the district's action to discharge these teachers would invite wrongful discharge lawsuits and civil suits from the teachers involved. This litigation, should the judgments go against the district, could potentially run well over $1 million and bring the district to its financial knees. Should the district decide not to pursue the discharge of these teachers, and you, as stakeholders, exercise your right as citizens of the United States to pursue other schooling options for your child, whether it be a charter, a private school, or homeschooling, this too could place the district in financial peril. For every student who leaves us, the district loses $7,000. If 100 students leave, that amounts to $700,000 in lost revenue to the district in just the first year alone. None of the choices are easy. However, as elected officials, this board represents all the citizens of the West Branch Rural City School District. Ultimately, you individually and the community collectively will determine the future of this district. We are at a crossroads. In closing, the board, in an effort to gain further input from the community, would like to take some time to reflect on their options. This is an important decision, one that will decide the very future of our district. Thank you again for your input and for attending tonight's board meeting. Mr. Money.
At this time, if you do not understand any of the statements or any of the figures that Mr. Quina has, we will be glad to answer those questions. Just come up to the microphone, please. And go back, state your name, the whole thing.
Randy Throughline, it's not on, so.
Is there no button on the side? That's
Randy Throughline, West Branch. When you say board needs time to reflect, how much time? A week, a day, a month?
Okay, this is our current plan. I know we heard from a large group here, but we have a community of about 20,000. And I really, I sympathize with the Jenchevsky family. I understand your concerns. And I've got to look at this and say, how far am I willing to go, I guess. That's my personal thing that I've got to deal with. The current plan is to make our decision in the August board meeting, which was August 19th. Is that it? August 19th.
It'll be made by then,
yes.
so we can come to that board meeting and get an answer.
Yes, you can.
Where would that board meeting be held at?
Probably in here again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other clarification that you need?
I do. Can I just talk really loud, or do you?
No, you got to come down here.
Pam Atherton, West Branch. You stated that you have a small part of the community here, and that you would like to hear from the rest of the community. How do you plan on reaching out so that the other members of the community can voice their input? Do you have a...
We debated this a lot of ways, how we could reach out. I mean, we will talk to people. Actually, we also want, all of us to back away from this because it is a huge decision, whichever road we go down. And don't underestimate how huge this is. And all think, what do we want to do here? Where do we want to go? And I need to think about that. it's such a big decision that I want to be calm and I want to think about it, because it's huge, which way we decide to go and which way this community decides to go. But at this point, I guess if you want to talk to us and express your opinion after you've had time to think about it also and weigh the decisions, you want to write us, letting us know, we will listen. But ultimately, I guess these people on this board, the 7 members, will have to say and weigh everything that they have and make the decision which way we're going to go. And whatever decision these people make, I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be an easy one. I understand all sides of this, and I wish something was clear cut. But
How are you guys gonna get to the people though? You don't need to get to us. How are you gonna get to the community? You have a month.
Or how can the community get to you?
I'll give that up anytime.
Some of the things we kicked around is, we have our school messenger, and first of all, we have to make sure that that's a way we can communicate on an issue like this, that would potentially go out to all the families in the community, but it wouldn't go out to citizens who don't have children here. We can go and talk to businesses in West Branch, Rose City, Lupton. We're going to be active. It's not, we don't expect to sit at home or watch our computer and see who sends us an email. We're going to be active. We're going to go out and talk to people.
I have a question.
One thing though, on the school messenger, that's something we kicked around. Whether we can use it or not, I don't know. But if it becomes available, you'll obviously know because something will come to you. But it's the, if there's a school let out early, we got to the emails and whatnot, or phone messages we can get out. But like I say, we don't know if we can use that. But it's one of the options we discussed.
If you do find out that you can, will you send out from
Notifications.
Yeah. You'll get something. You'll know that we've done it.
All right.
But the problem with doing it by school messenger, it'd be difficult to explain to people what Mr. Quine just read as our statement. And so it's easier to go speak to people face to face and have back and forth conversation as opposed to saying, would you choose A, B, C, or D, and this is what you have. The school messenger message is probably going to be way too long, and that would be one of the reasons we may not use school messenger.
Katie Kelly from West Branch. My question is can you ask the teachers to resign?
sure, we can ask them anything you want us to ask them.
I mean, it's legal. I mean, you can say to them, do you want this to a legal battle? Can you resign? I mean, I just
Yes,
want
we
to know
could
what you
ask them
can.
that.
Do you think you would? Or would you keep staying to the legal part of it? I mean, is it an option?
Mr. Klein is advising me that we probably should not comment on this at this time.
Yeah, okay, I kind of thought that might be. Okay.
I'd like to thank Ron, Dick, Jack, and Scott for the support tonight when you were asked, would you like to have your child, your grandchild in these teachers' rooms? All of you know me for many, many years. I've always been an advocate and a supporter of teachers. I can't support these issues, and I do agree with you. I would not want my kids, my grandkids in those rooms. I can't speak for what Mr. Erickson said, nor do I really honestly believe he believes it.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering if in the teacher's contract,
Your name again?
I'm sorry, Carla Fritz, if there is anything in it as such as a code of conduct or anything like that, where this behavior would be a breach of contract.
There's some very limited language in the teacher contract. You can find it online, so you can check yourself. Basically, it refers to the board policy of discipline, and there's a certain process you have to go through. It doesn't provide specific, you know, if a teacher does this, you can do that. It's not that specific. But there are very vague references in the contract itself, and then the contract refers to the board policy, which I don't have the number right here. It's board policy 5195, and that's teacher discipline.
I do want to mention this, and for some reason we left this out of the statement when we were trying to word it. There is the pursue and all the things that come with filing this lawsuit. There is to totally not do it and all the things that come with that. But people had also mentioned a middle ground. And that is also a possibility that we want to look at. So, and those are things that you need to think about. It's not either or, there is a middle.
What's the middle?
Mrs. Zimmerman gave options and we looked at possible more on top of it. But looking at those, what is the day? Let me try to read what he wrote down here. Just, we could come after some different disciplinary action. We could honor the request to not have these children in classes. We would have to explore how we could do that, but we would definitely try to honor those requests. We could do the ethics training. Matter of fact, I think we're just going to do that anyway. But I mean, there's a middle ground that you can work from if you want to go that route too. And those are the things that we, after we've had time to think about it, and you've had time to think about it, we're going to have to explore what we can do, because if we make a decision and it blows up in our face, I'd hate to see this community without the school district. So it's just something we need to think about.
I think that's a wise decision, to look at the options, a lot of information, and take time to do it right. It's a big responsibility. But I have to ask, Mike, have you changed your mind? You could take this community to a giant step of healing if you would just walk away. It would be a huge step for them, for us, for the district. Walk away. Let us heal. Let us take one step towards healing. Let this family get something for their pain. You insulted them. You did the wrong thing. Walk away. Any change of heart on your part, because you are hurting all of us, and especially your board members here. I would want to be sitting there with you. Any change of heart?
Kathy, the community elected me, and there's a process to remove me. And there were probably...
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you if you had a change. Have you had a change of heart? Yes or no? I don't want to hear from you. Yes or no?
I am not going to resign from this meeting tonight, Kathy.
Well, think about it.
Okay.
You need to do it.
What about in the future? You said tonight, what about the future? Like before the next meeting, would you resign before the next meeting?
We want to stay on the topic of what we're dealing with. Mr. Egan will make his decisions, or the community will make the decision. But we want you to focus on a bigger issue. I'm not minimizing this, but this is a huge issue that this community is going to have to think about. Okay? Yes, sir.
Andrew Constable, West Branch. Before you guys left, you had talked about getting with an attorney to figure out if Mr. Egan was going to be able to be a part of this conversation or not, or a part of the voting. My question is, due to his wife and him being so close to that situation, what came of that?
The decision as far as him being in the closed hearing, he was in the closed hearing. Our attorney indicated that would not be conflict of interest.
How about if it came to a vote, would his vote be able to count?
I did not get that far with him. You know, I called him at home and I just needed that question answered.
But we will find the answer.
Candy County, West Branch. And this next month here, when you guys will be communicating in whatever ways you are to the community, laying out what you just told us, will he be doing the opposite? Or is he in agreement with the board?
I think he's in agreement with the board. I think that we're going to lay out, these are the options, these are the possible consequences, but right now he is a West Branch Rose City board member and none of us have control of what he does. Personally, I think he will lay it out okay.
One more question too. In the contract that you were reading about how there's not real good verbiage on code of conduct, basically, ethics, morals. When does that contract come up for rewording? I mean, for throwing something new in there?
This one expires.
Policies, that's policy, it's not contract.
Okay, so how do we change
Well,
policy?
it's referring to the policies in the contract, right? The contract expires
So they have
in
to both go
2016.
together, don't
2016?
Okay, the contract expires, well, we can open it up for what? I know it's got a 2016 date on it.
We can open it up for salary.
Wages.
2016.
2016. So who is union or contract negotiators? Who are those people who would be able to put that information in there and have a new policy?
For which group? For our group?
For the contracts you guys have now.
Yeah, but negotiating for our group or
Yeah,
for the other group?
teachers,
This year, I had 4 different people rotating in and out. It was Mr. Williams, Mr. Egan, Mr. Batchelder, and Mr. Nelson. Every year, we put out the appointments, and the next time is January.
Put out the appointments.
Yeah. Who's on what committees? They tell me it's my job to do, but I usually consult with them, like, what are you good at?
Who are the three, there's 3. I know Mike fills in whenever somebody doesn't show up.
For the negotiations? No.
Actually, this year I filled in.
He was the filler in.
Mr. Nelson had a vacation in Florida for a couple months, so I filled in
So
for
it was
Mr.
Ed,
Nelson.
Richard, and Mike.
Right.
You let Mike negotiate a contract for his own one. I know you didn't let him, he could. That's, sorry.
And one last question. Everything that you read tonight, can that be posted online exactly the way you have it so we can have access to it?
Yes, and hopefully Mr. Barnum will put it in the paper.
Mike Parsons from Milton. I'm concerned, I love the option idea because I think it's going to be best for the school and the community, but I'm concerned about the teachers that may be brought in for the students that do not want to go into the classrooms of these teachers. Will they be full-time? Will they be subs? I'm concerned about that.
You mean the teachers who wrote the letters?
No, yeah, I'm concerned about our students that don't want to be. I have a junior that's coming in. If she's not in with the teacher who wrote the letters, what kind of teacher is she?
We have, that's going to be up to the administrative team to figure something out.
Will we have those answers next board meeting?
That's difficult, and it's hard to answer that because we have to find out how many people are gonna say, my student's not gonna be in that teacher's class. We may end up having to hire someone. That's obviously a big potential and a cost to the district, but those are options that we don't have an answer to right now.
The only thing I would say on top of that is that I totally agree with you, I understand where you're coming from, but we as parents also have children that we're gonna have to need to deal with come September, that are gonna be like, what are we doing? What's going on? Am I going to this class, am I not? So we're both in a situation that we've gotta get an answer sometime.
From being a teacher for 35 years and watching the first day of school, it's just going to be a lot more chaotic. But we will, if this is the route this community decides to go, we may make it work. It may not work well for a week or so, but we will make it work.
How come you say that
You need to come up to the microphone and state your name.
Jeremy Morrison, Rose City. How come you say if this is the community as we decide, and you just said yourself, we, the board members, in the end will make the decision? You make it sound like we're going to have a say in it, but in all reality, you, the board members, are going to make the decision for us. Correct?
We listen to your input, but yes, basically it will be.
Because us and everybody sitting in here sounds like you're sweeping it under the rug. It's already happening again to us.
I'm not sweeping this under the rug. I want to take time to make a very intelligent decision, and I want this community to think about this. I do not make knee-jerk reactions. I think things through, I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to make a decision after talking to people on what I think is our best course of action. And there is nothing that is clear-cut in my mind. It is going to be the toughest decision I ever have to make.
Do the right thing.
Well, that's why I'm going to try to figure out what the right thing is.
You know what it is. If you don't want, if the kids aren't going to go to the classroom with the teacher, why do we want to pay that teacher plus another teacher?
Hi, my name is Pat Arnold. I'm from West Branch. I have a question for our superintendent. He said that he did not ask the attorney on the phone about Mike being over there sitting in on the vote. Can you find out before you go and vote from your attorney if he can sit in or not sit in?
The question is whether, if this becomes a motion, is he eligible to vote? And that question I did not ask.
Okay, will you find
out?
out?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Who's our attorney?
Truant Law Firm, it's a firm of about 28 lawyers that specialize in public and school defense and advice. From East Lansing. If there isn't any other questions for clarification, please take time, talk among yourselves, look at your options. And I'm probably not supposed to say this, but may God bless the school district. Okay. Motion by Mr. Williams, supported by Mr. Egan, to adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
closed. This meeting's adjourned. Let's go.
See, are you uploading that video tonight? Yeah.
Well, I'm probably.
Might get.
I think that's a conflict of interest in the recording.